Alright, like, click, subscribe, do all that. You already know what time it is. It's Netflix time. This series is called Haunted Latin America. Alright, so this series is about real people's terrifying tales of the chilling, unexplained, and paranormal come to life with dramatic reenactments in this reality series. So the first season is like 5 episodes, 30 minutes apiece, except for the first episode, which is 47 minutes. So we're going to talk about the first episode, The House of the Damned. So here we got this lady named Brista. She's having a meeting with her ex-husband, her brother, and her 2 sons. So they moved into a new home back in 2003. And as the kids are playing, you can already feel a chill in the air. So as Brista's setting up the house and putting away clothes, what the fuck are these burnt things in the mirror? Of course, when she turns around, nothing's there. Later on, she's setting up curtains, and we see footprints of somebody tracking mud in the house. She thought it was one of the boys, but it turns out they were upstairs. One was taking a bath. So when she turns around, she doesn't see anything there. But she does see the dirt on the ground. She checks up on the boys, who at this point just chilling watching TV. But she looks at their shoes and notices that there's no dirt on them. Where'd the dirt come from? You got a stranger in your house? Are they intruders? Later on, she puts the kids to bed, cleans up their toys, puts them in a basket, puts it in a tub, and slides it under the desk. Next morning, she wakes up and notices, the kids are still asleep. And she sees all these toys lined up in order on the couch. So she puts the toys back in the tub and got the kids ready for school. Later on, they come back from school, and guess what? The toys are right back on the couch, lined up in the perfect order that they were earlier this morning. So basically, she was freaking out. She didn't know what the fuck was going on. So at night, she puts a fence on their door, to put a bell there to make sure that, if they leave out the door, she'll hear the bell and know it's them. So as the kids are asleep, a toy car comes rolling in by itself. As one brother picks up the toy car, the other brother's staring out the window. What the fuck does he see? Oh snap, he actually saw the burnt up ghost looking things out the window. The bell started going crazy, but there's nobody near it. So the brothers came to the conclusion like, yo, this place is haunted. Brista wasn't convinced yet, but she felt something. Next day, a next door neighbor comes by knocking on the door. Nobody was home at the time, but when she looks through the window, she sees a little boy floating with his arms spread out. So she can see ghosts too? What the fuck? And there was definitely nobody in the house because Brista and the sons were just getting home. Then they heard stories from the neighbors about how Brista lashed out on the gardener. And she didn't even remember, she said that's not even her character. So then they show us the gardener as he heard strange noises coming from inside the house. He goes in and checks on the mom, and Brista tells him get the fuck out the house, but she says it in like a demonic voice or something like that. Sounds like she was possessed, but I'm not really sure yet. Then we get to a scene where she wilded out on her kids for not wearing shoes in the house. Then she tells them get the fuck out the kitchen in a demonic tone again. So at this point, I'm pretty convinced she's possessed by something in this house. So at this point, the kids are scared to sleep in their room by themselves, so they sleep in mom's room. But then, oh shit, they all in his face. The son is like, what the fuck is going on? He's getting choked by the ghost. But he don't know if he's hallucinating, dreaming, or this shit is really happening. Then we get a scene where they're asleep, but we're seeing it in third person through the ghost's vision. Then it focuses on Brista. Then all of a sudden the ghost is dragging her out the bed. Holy shit. Next thing we know, she's in the backyard with her arms up, floating off the ground. See, look at her feet, they're not on the ground. And as soon as she wakes up, she drops straight to the ground. I think this calls for it. What in all of the fuck? So after that, she goes to take a shower. But out of nowhere, she's got all these cuts on her arms, bruises on her stomach. So yeah, where did all that shit come from? Yeah, so mom's had enough at this point. She gets the kids and like, look man, we gotta get the fuck out this house. She explains to them, but really explains to us how she met up with her fiance. She ended up getting pregnant, ended up living with him for a little while. But because of their finances, they had no choice but to go back to that house. So 2004, they're back there again. She feels safer now because she says she's with her husband and she's not alone now. But you weren't alone before. You had your 2 kids. So it's like, what the fuck? A month later, she had to have surgery. I think something was wrong with her gallbladder or something like that. During the surgery, she says she claims to have an out-of-body experience, like her soul was looking down at her, and claims to have a clearer understanding of these ghosts and why they're haunting her. But it turns out she ain't understand nothing. One night, they're all sitting at the table, either coloring or eating homework, doing homework or something, I don't know. They're listening to the baby monitor, but it's picking up like news stations and shit. So dad's going to check on the baby. Oh shit, see that boy in the corner? What the fuck? That boy is a ghost. Well, anyway, the baby's just fine. Then he comes back to the table. Then we hear demonic sounds coming from the baby monitor as the baby's crying. Like, what the fuck? Then they go upstairs, the cradle's rocking by itself, then all of a sudden it stops by itself. He gets the baby out the crib, but then the crib starts sliding on its own. Then the ghost pulls back on his hair. It pulls him to the ground, and then the closet moves by itself, it's about to crush him. Brista and the boys stop the closet from falling, and then they get the fuck up out of there. The car wouldn't start at first, so they pushed it, then they got it started, and then it got loose. At the time, her brother didn't believe any of this shit, so he goes in and moves in the house himself. But when he was there, he kept hearing demonic voices. Talking about, yeah, you're gonna die if you stay in this house. Then he gets to his room and he sees the sheets being pulled back by themselves, like, what the fuck? And then this shit happens? Oh, wow. This shit's crazy. He pulls the cover off, there's nothing there. What the fuck? Then he sees the ghost boy in the corner just crying to himself. I'm like, what the fuck? But notice how he has these cuts on his face and a bruise on his side. That's what showed up on Brista that one time when she was trying to take a shower. Coincidence? I think not. So then they decide to bring her parents to the house so they can get the documents to sell it. But she don't have nothing else to do with this bullshit. Then for some reason she goes to the backyard. Meanwhile, Dad's upstairs picking up some of the kids' toys. And then the car starts moving back and forth on its own. See that shit? What the fuck? But then he's finally able to grab it. But then, oh shit, it just flew out his hand, yo, fuck that. Fuck them toys, they don't need it. He's gonna get his wife, but then he notices the door keep moving back and forth by itself. He goes outside and he sees Bristol got arms up again in that damn trance. He snaps her out of it. He's like, come on, let's get the fuck out of here. As she got to the door, something tried to pull her back in, and it left cuts on the side of her face. Yeah, man, this shit is wild. So after all that, she went to go see a psychic. She told her whatever it is must be following you. And then she started seeing the demons for what they really were. Then it goes through the events where the boy was actually tracking in dirt. The two dead people were near the baby at that one time. They were also the ones that slashed her face. So what I gathered, the two dead people were real evil and they used to beat up on that boy. They slashed him, beat him to death, all type of shit. Why they were attacking him for just being in the house is still a mystery. The psychic told her to put some oils on herself and do some incantations. But when they did, they had to pull out this long ass piece of hair that was stuck in her throat. And then she was laid out. While her husband and the other lady were continuing the incantations, she rose up off the ground on some exorcist shit, so he forced her to drink some holy water. And then they gave us a shot of the boy who was still in the house. So now they're living in a different spot, but you could tell she's still possessed. And that's the end of the first episode. Wow. So apparently they got another show on there that's just called Haunted. It came out back in 2019. It's got 2 seasons. Each season has 6 episodes apiece, 27 minutes an episode. I say check them both out. What's goody? Haunted, Latin America, on Netflix. Check it out. Like, click, subscribe, do all that. You already know what time it is. Big. You got that slogan.